It is time for our CMC Mitchell coaches interview as head coach Scott Nagy joins us here after the Salukis get the win 66-55 over Indiana State. Coach was looking up as you were on your way out here. First time that Indiana State this year in league play held under 60 points. A tremendous defensive effort by your group holding them to 55, 66-55 the final. The effort it took to really limit a good offensive team to 55 points.
Yeah, and it obviously didn't start that way. I mean, the first 4 or 5 minutes we were not very good, and then we made a substitution and our defense got better. I know we at one point we had 10 stops in a row, and that's when we made the run. And so, you know, we clearly weren't very good offensively. I mean, we weren't trying to keep the score down. We should have scored 80 points. We just weren't very good offensively. 2 for 19 from 3. That we've got to get figured out. Second half we got squirrely. I think we got the lead and we just kind of got stupid, and it drove me crazy. You know, it's just where we've struggled this year when we have leads like that of guys getting goofy instead of just staying with what we're doing. And you know, you got senior night, you have all these distractions, and it plays a factor in how the guys play and the way they act and all those things.
Coach, how do you address those things with your team as you go throughout the year?
Well, I mean, we try, but certainly after a game, I'm not going to address that.
No
We'll address it in film tomorrow, and we'll look at it because we weren't, like, defensively we were good, offensively, and then we got, you know, we took some bad shots, and then it makes us get squirrely defensively, and this team could be so good if we could just mature in some areas.
Back to your defensive effort, especially in that stretch in the first half when you get that big run. Coach, explain to all of us how hard it is to prepare for an Indiana State team that screams they're not very good, but offensively, quite frankly, Scott, I think it's one of the best half-court offenses I've seen in the league this year.
Yeah.
How hard is to cut that cutting? Because, you know, you got on Damian a couple times, rightfully so. When your eyes lock on the ball, they are an automatic basket cut. How tough was it to get to prepare, and where do you think you made that growth in just 2 days of preparation?
Well, where we were good was in their roles, because they throw. I mean, they don't even look. They come off a ball screen and they just throw pocket pass. They don't even look. And we did a good job of loading up, having a guy in what we call the high low and the low roll. And, you know, we kind of took care of both of those. Now, you know, we got caught on some things, some back cuts, and they lead the league in assists. They turn it over a lot, too, because they just come off that thing and throw it, and we forced them into, 18 turnovers tonight, which was really what helped us because that allowed us to get out and run. But they really move the ball. They don't score off one-on-one basketball. They score off moving it and passing it.
Q, another outstanding rebounding effort tonight. He leads your team in rebounds. 9 rebounds, just 1 away from getting a double-double.
Yeah, our bigs didn't rebound the ball real well tonight. I think, you know, at our 3 centers and one of our power forward at halftime, we had 3 total rebounds. And so we just, you know, even though we won, it was a squirrely win. It really was. And we got to get back and get to focus. Senior night always makes me nervous for all kinds of reasons. It's hard for me because we're, you know, I mean, even though it's not the end, we're getting close to the end, and so it's emotional for me, but I also know it can be very distracting.
Yeah, and you look at your team tonight too, Coach. I mean, the free throw line's not always been kind, but tonight 14 of 16, you made it count when you had to get to the line.
Yeah, and I thought, you know, Jay Haynes did a nice job at the free throw line. He's in his career is going to get fouled a lot, so he needs to be a tremendous free throw shooter.
What's Jalen done such a good job of? Because you mentioned that, but look, outside of Kelron House, he is second on your team in personal fouls drawn within league play.
He's just so explosive. I mean, that's what it is. He's like every time he puts the ball on the floor, he's shot out of a cannon. He attacks the basket. He's like I say, as good athlete as I've ever coached.
Coach, you talk about these guys all the time and the commitment level and coming to practice each and every day. Really special moment before the game tonight. You guys were able to surprise Jorge, one of your seniors, with his parents coming in, being able to watch him for the first time in person since he's been in the States. Look, we always say, like, there's always those moments that remind you of what makes what you do really special. That had to be really special today.
It was great. The whole team was excited about it, and we did it at 5:30 when the team met, and then brought them in. And I don't know. My feeling is Jorge may have had a feeling they were coming. I don't know, but it was still like his parents were thrilled, and you know, think some people that helped get him here. Javon did a good job of organizing it. And for them to get to see him play one time is, I'm sure, a thrill for them.
Coach, there's nothing we can do about what I'm about to ask you next, but you think about that great gesture and getting Jorge's parents here. Think about all the times we've coached over the last 100 years where you couldn't do that for someone. Think about those chances you could have done that in the past, but it would be a violation. How great is it in kind of on top of what you've just talked about?
Yeah, no, there was so much silliness, but we've gone from having way too many rules to no rules, and so we went from over legislation to none, but to be able to do things like that really is great to be able to do that.
Coach, I don't know, now 3 wins in a row for your group. You'll play this weekend on Sunday at Evansville after they play on Saturday against Valpo. Is there any significance of trying to just win 4 in a row, knowing that's what you're going to have to do next week as well?
Well, it's not the 4 in a row. It just is to continue to play well and build, and I think it's going to be a challenge to prepare our guys for that game, because it's a throw-in game, and probably won't be a great crowd there on a Sunday at 3 o'clock. It's one of those makeup games, and you're playing a team that's struggling, but I think it'll be a big challenge for our coach staff to get our guys ready emotionally to play that game.
Coach, appreciate it.
But I'm glad we're playing it, because I'd rather do that than sit around for 9 days.
Well, and that's what it would have been. And like we talked about this week, too, the original schedule actually would have had this game played last night, and then you'd be off even longer.
Right. And I want to thank Indiana State for at least moving this game one day to get us one day closer to the tournament.
Coach, appreciate the time. We'll see you in Evansville this weekend.
Okay, thanks.
Once again, that was head coach Scott Nagy. His comments were brought to you by CMC